A few months ago, I was sitting in a room where someone said something very confidently. They said, AI is getting too intelligent. Soon it will start thinking for us. Everyone around the room nodded. No one questioned it. No one pushed back. And that moment stayed with me. Not because AI had suddenly changed, but because our understanding of it clearly hadn't. Hi, I'm Vishvesh Upadhyay, and I work around business, technology, and AI. But over time, I have become less interested in what AI can do and more interested in what it reveals about us. Because the way we talk about AI often says more about human fear than about machine intelligence. We often describe AI as if it's becoming human, smarter, faster, almost conscious. But what if the truth is much simpler? What if AI isn't replacing humans at all? What if it's revealing them? Every time a new technology arrives, we follow the same emotional pattern. First, the fear, then exaggeration, then acceptance. This isn't new. When calculators became common, people worried students would stop thinking. When the internet arrived, people said knowledge would lose its value. When smartphones entered our pockets, people said memory itself was dying. But thinking didn't disappear, creativity didn't vanish, human judgment didn't collapse. What changed was something quieter. We had to adapt, and adaptation is uncomfortable because the fear was never really about tools, it was about control, about relevance, about the silent question we don't like asking ourselves: where do I fit now? AI brings that question back very directly. But there is something genuinely different about this moment. AI doesn't extend our muscles like machines once did. It doesn't extend our reach like the internet did. It extends something far more personal. It reflects how we think, and mirror makes us uncomfortable because a mirror doesn't judge you, it doesn't correct you, it doesn't flatter you. It simply shows what's already there. AI does the same thing. When people say AI feels overwhelming, I don't disagree. But I don't think it's because AI is complicated. I think it's because we misunderstand what it is. We have started treating AI like intelligence, like a mind, like something that understands. But AI doesn't think, it doesn't understand, it doesn't feel, it doesn't judge. It predicts, and that's all. It recognizes patterns based on what we give it. And what we give it are questions, are assumptions, are clarity or confusions. Says far more about us than it does about the machine. Today, conversations about AI usually fall into two extreme reactions. On one side, we hear AI is eating the world. On the other side, we hear this is just a bubble and there is nothing new happening anymore. Both of these reactions miss what's actually happening. AI is not eating the world, and it is not a bubble as well. What's happening is quieter, more gradual, more permanent. AI isn't arriving as one dramatic invention. It is arriving in layers, in emails you no longer think about, in recommendations you accept without noticing, in decisions that feel small but quietly compound over time. Real change doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives like infrastructure. We didn't wake up one morning and say the internet has arrived. It slowly became the background of everything we do. AI is following the same path. And if it feels like nothing new is happening, it's often because the most important change isn't happening in the technology itself, it's happening in us. Now, here's something we rarely acknowledge: human thinking is not universal. Every brain works differently, every person processes the world in their own way. Think of it like a lock and a key. Every lock is different, and every lock requires its own key. No single key opens every lock. In the same way, no single way of thinking fits every mind. When we interact with AI, we are not using one universal key. We are using our own key of thought, our clarity, our intent, our patience, our biases. AI doesn't correct those things, it reflects them. I realized this very clearly the first time I seriously used an AI system. I asked what I thought was a reasonable question. The response I got was vague. So I tried again, and it was still vague. My instinct wasn't curiosity, it was frustration. I thought, this isn't as smart as people say. But then I stopped. I read my own questions slowly, and I realized something which was uncomfortable for me. I hadn't decided what I actually wanted. So I rewrote the question with more context, with more intention, more clarity, and suddenly the answers changed. Not because the system became smarter, but because the key finally fit the lock. And that moment stayed with me because AI didn't expose a limitation in the machine, it exposed the limitation in my thinking. And then something else happened, something that had nothing to do with work or screens or technology. I was walking alone one day, no phone, no headphones, just walking. And I noticed something unsettling. My mind was restless. Even though nothing was demanding my attention, no notifications, no deadlines, no problems to solve. And yet, my thoughts kept searching for something to react to. That's when it struck me. We don't use tools when we need them. We use them when we don't know how to sit with ourselves. Not because we are lazy, but because stillness exposes question we haven't answered. Technology creates that restlessness. It reveals it. In that moment, I understood something quietly profound. Intelligence isn't just about producing answers, it's about tolerating uncertainty. It's about staying present when nothing is prompting you. AI didn't threaten that ability, it highlighted how rarely we practice it. And that realization changed the way I looked at this entirely. Maybe the real shift isn't that machines are becoming more capable. Maybe it's that they are no longer distracting us from the fact that we haven't decided what we want our attention to, let's say, stand for. That moment again stayed with me because it wasn't about technology catching up to us, it was us catching up to ourselves. And this is the part we often avoid. AI doesn't overwhelm us because it's powerful. It overwhelms us because it demands clarity, and clarity is uncomfortable. Most of us live on autopilot, on habits, on shortcuts, on half-formed thoughts. AI doesn't work that way. It forces us to slow down, to articulate what we mean, to decide what we actually want. And when we can't, we blame the tool. And this is why some people fear AI, not because it will take their jobs, not because it will become conscious, but because it simply and quietly asks us a difficult question. Do you actually understand what you are doing? And that question is confronting. We are also told that AI is here to replace creativity, but creativity has never been about speed or volume or efficiency. Creativity comes from judgment, from context, from taste. AI can generate 1,000 of options in seconds or milliseconds, but it cannot decide why one matters. That choice still belongs to us, and it always will. Here's the paradox. People who rely on AI blindly often become less effective, but people who understand AI deeply, who treat it as a tool and not a mind, become more capable than ever, because AI rewards good thinking and it also exposes poor thinking. So when we say AI is making us lazy or AI is making us less creative, what we are really saying is we haven't learned how to think alongside it yet. And that's not a technology problem, that's a human one. Every generation fears the tool it doesn't yet understand, but eventually fear fades, and what's left is responsibility. Because once we understand a tool, we can no longer blame it. AI doesn't decide for us, it reflects our decision back to us in a way of clear in, clear out, messy in, messy out. So maybe the real question isn't will AI replace humans? Maybe the better question is, are we ready to be revealed? Ready to see how we think, how we decide, how intentional or unintentional we are? AI isn't here to take away our humanity. It quietly asks us to step into it, to think clearly, to choose consciously, to lead with judgment instead of fear. Because AI isn't becoming human, it's holding up a mirror and asking us to be one.